This is the second time ever that I'm doing a voiceover. Unfortunately, my mic on this trip totally out of commission. It's just nothing but garbled wind noise. That little fuzzy piece that goes over the mic fell off. So it was good footage, bad audio. So here I am doing a little bit of a voiceover. This spot in North Georgia always reminds me of Colorado, where we would ride along the river. And you can see the river over there on the right. Yeah, it just takes me back to home. So the real purpose of this was I finally put the YSS rear suspension on my bike, and I wanted to provide kind of a initial thoughts and a bit of a review. I've had it on there now for maybe 500 miles, and so far, I mean, I have to say, hands down, one of the best upgrades that I've ever invested in on the Scrambler. I'm embarrassed going back and looking at the old footage where I said, hey, you can do this and that on the stock suspension. You totally can, but for the amount of money you're going to spend on all those other upgrades, just go ahead, get a new rear suspension. So I've been chasing down these high-speed wobble issues, and I'll have more on that in a future video, but one of the things I realized was that the rear suspension was just totally shot. Reading stuff on the forums and what I've listened to from different folks is that the stock suspension's really meant to handle about 20 to 25,000 miles. I found that to be absolutely true. It just started riding like a wheelbarrow. It was like a wooden plank, like a diving board with the rear just jumping around. So I definitely thought, okay, well, this is at least contributing to the high-speed wobble. It needs to be replaced. And I started looking around, started shopping around. What's the best suspension out there? You can see at this point in the video, this is where we realized our day of off-roading was going to be nixed. Unfortunately, there's just been so much rain in the area that I guess they closed the road. And you can see Phil here almost ride off the road because he saw a woman on a motorcycle. He's losing his mind. But yeah, so anyways, I started looking at rear suspensions and thinking, what should I get? And it's really tough. If you get on the forum and you start looking at stuff, there's some information about the YSS rear suspension, but everybody tells you to go with Fox or go with Öhlins. Those are two of the most expensive brands with the biggest names, but I think there's other options out there. You can look at Progressive and Icon. Anyways, there's just not a solid gold standard, like this is the one. Everybody will tell you that Öhlins is that suspension. But when you're thinking about going off-road and you're very off-road oriented, one of the concerns I had was that I was going to get this Öhlins suspension that's really intended for like a Thruxton. Also, when you're talking about the difference in the suspension length, you want to get something that is the Scrambler suspension length, which I think is 360. It's 360 millimeters, and I think the Bonneville and Thruxton are both 340. Don't quote me on that. Anyways. So you want to get something that's actually got the right length. So anyways, in my research, I ran into these guys who were selling the YSS. Okay, so short mention here in the video. This river crossing up at the Ravens Cliff Campground or wherever this is, this shows up in like every other video. We have never crossed this thing. Every single time we come up here, everybody is like, no, I don't want to get my feet wet. Oh, no, it's too deep. It's too long, too far. It doesn't even look that bad, you guys. Like, we're going to have to come back and we're going to conquer this thing intentionally. I'm going to put this 2-minute video out there just of us conquering this stupid little baby river crossing. But anyways, I ran into these guys over at Nomad Adventure, Nomad ADV, and they recommend the YSS suspension. They sell motorcycle parts and gear. I think they're based out of Amsterdam. Don't quote me on that either. But they're based out of Europe. And these guys have a blog called Earth Roamers. They actually took a Bonneville around the world. They burned through dozens of different suspensions, and they talked about the issues they had with the Icon suspension and the Progressive suspension. Anyways, they actually ended up getting set up on the YSS, and they said, hey, like, this is the one. This is the suspension you want. Like, this is it. And they really convinced me, so I had some email back and forth with those guys. They offer 2 different setups of the suspension, and they offer multiple different heights. And actually, I ended up going with the one that's the 360, so stock for the Scrambler, but it's got these eyelets that you can roll around, and you can actually shorten it if you want. So you could actually make it even a little bit shorter. But they were totally willing to sell me one that was 380, and I think even like 370. This view is incredible. What an amazing epic view. You got these ice falls on the left side here because it was actually really cold out that morning. And then over to the right, you can just see all the North Georgia mountains. I mean, what an epic ride. So anyways, I'll link to their site, the Nomad ADV. I'll link to the blog post about the Bonneville travels and the YSS suspension. I love the suspension, best upgrade that I've made. I just highly recommend it to you guys. I can't say enough good things about it. And, you know, I regret not doing it sooner. It was really, really awesome in the bit of off-road sections I got to do on this ride. I loved it in the twisties. And actually, you know, the rear suspension was so good that I think in some ways it fixed so much of what was going on the back end of the bike. I really believed that had solved the high-speed wobble. So like I said, there's more to come on that in a future video. But I just want to throw out my props for that and say, hey guys, if you're looking for a rear suspension for your Scrambler, check that one out. This part, I will let it speak for itself and close out the video on this. We ran into this guy who had, launched his bike off road, and we helped him out. So, anyways, there's more videos to come. Thanks for watching this quick channel update and basically giving you a double thumbs up on the YSS.
It's not going anywhere like that.
Oh, I'm on a rock.
There we go. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You okay? Are you all right?
Yeah.
Hey,
I've been down a couple times.
You can make it home too.
Did you see it happen?
No, no.
Oh, I